But,
what do you think the core issue is, Mike, for this loneliness?
The expectation that once you hit it, it's like you made it to the top. Now what? Now what?
Yeah.
I mean, the journey is the fun part.
Yeah.
And then you get to the top and you're like, now what I do? What's next? And you have no one to voice it to because the people around you haven't hit that level. So they're going, what? Oh, well, you hit it. You're like, oh, no, I haven't. Only when you see them, when they meet somebody that's higher than them, they meet somebody who's really doing aspirational things. Do you see them really get inspired? And so that's cool to see. You see that fire ignite, but then you see it fade because they get around their people who bring them right back down to their level because they can't appreciate what you just done or seen. So I think the loneliness.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Is there overlap between those two worlds? I mean, some of the stuff you saw between some of the gang violence and the and what you saw protecting these extremely wealthy people or continue to see. Is there some sort of overlap there?
The overlap is success. They want to be recognized as successful by their peers. Whether you're a gang leader, you want the respect and admiration of your peers that you're now the toughest gangster making the most money. As an actor, you want to be recognized by your peers via Oscar money, box office sales. Via CEOs want to be recognized as their company stock prices are soaring through the roofs, their sales are going out, and everything's going great. They all have that overlap of wanting to achieve and respect of their peers. No matter if one gangster is killing somebody, or the other guy's doing movies, or the other guy's making sales, they're all trying to succeed. So they all have that healthy ego. So what made it easy for me, and I never thought about it until you just brought it up. Now you're going to give me something else to lay awake at night. Is how going through recognizing that helps you deal with the personalities for me that I'm dealing with, because I recognize the personality. Because no matter if I'm dealing with a gang member or if I'm dealing with a CEO, they both have healthy egos and they just want to be recognized for their accomplishments.
This calls me to mind at that moment you found a wealthy kind of television star with a bunch of cash in his car not too far from your mom and dad.
I talked to him. That's a true story. I talked to him. Right? I did.
And you saw him at the height, we can't talk about it too much, but at the height of his wealth and abundance with thousands of dollars in cash, he just wanted to get back to a neighborhood.
True. That's true. I talked to him about that 6 months ago. I ran into him and said, hey, remember this? And I recounted the story. He goes, I'll do the voice, but you'll know who it is. Man, you remember that? Yeah, I remember that. And I don't know. I still got your card. I bet you do. Bet you do. He goes, I wasn't drunk. I wasn't drunk, though. I didn't say you was drunk. Yeah, that was something else. So that's a true story. That's a true story.
Yeah, I think in a way, he was probably trying to escape he was trying to escape his situation, right?
And he eventually did. And he eventually did. He eventually did.
He did.
So that's to my point.
Yeah.
He eventually escaped. So everybody doesn't have what it takes to do that. And if you bring it back to my life, wow, I hadn't think about it until you just said this, Mike. I escaped out of the police work. I just left.
Right.
Like he left his TV show. I just left police work with no plan. He went to, I won't say, I went to Mexico. No plan. Sometimes you just have to know when to go and do you and be who you are. I became the happiest person when I left being police work. Happiest person ever. To this day, happiest person ever. I talk to guys that are still cops. Yeah.
When we talked a little bit on the phone yesterday about you coming on today,
about biscuits.
After the biscuit conversation, one of the first things you brought up when I kind of gave you the brief about what we're doing is you want to be one of your proudest moments, or I forget how you put it, was the Marine Corps,
with the Marine Corps. Sure.
with the emblem, the EGA. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
With
So
General Mike Hyatt, right, Mike? Yep.
General Mike Myers, he was definitely helpful, but it started before Mike. It was 2000, let's say 2008, for lack of a better way, for lack of trying to recall the years. Since 1775, November 10th, 1775, the Marine Corps was created, all the way up until 2010. The Marine Corps never had collected $1 on the globe and anchor its names or anything. Period. Never have. Without going into the gory detail, I thought that was silly for a number of reasons. So I reached out to the Marine Corps. I found the head of the colonel for the JAG and said, I want to get a trademark and licensing office started. He goes, ain't gonna happen. Commandant doesn't see the point in it. Thank you. Have a good day. So I didn't take that as an answer. I called back a week later and I said, I think you're wrong on this, sir. And I think I can help this process. He goes, don't see it happening, but good on you, young Marine. Have a good day, literally. And so I said, all right. So I called a friend of mine up who was in clothing. They had UGG and Swiss Army and a bunch of other brands. I said, can you call Walmart up and ask them how many T-shirts do they sell with the American flag on it on Memorial Day? He goes, why? I said, I just need that answer. So he gives me the number. I did some quick math. I put a letter together and said, I would believe that 1 of 10 shirts would be sold for the Marine Corps with the Marine Corps emblem on it out of Walmart. This is how much money you're losing by not doing that just in this day. Multiply that out, you're losing a lot of money. I sent it over to the colonel. The colonel gave it to the sergeant major of the Marine Corps because they work out together. Sergeant major of the Marine Corps slipped it to the commandant. Yeah, completely unorthodox the way this thing went. About a month or so, 2 months pass, and then I get a phone call from the colonel saying, hey, they're going to start 2 units up in the Marine Corps. One is whatever, and goes, the other is the trademark and licensing office, thanks to you. I go, you're kidding me? He goes, nope. And I said, well, that's great. He goes, well, we got to find somebody to run it. Now, naturally, being the egotistical person that I am, I thought it'd be me. He goes, well, there's a problem with that, Marine. You're not a Marine anymore, and you definitely don't have the rank or the know-how. You're right. So long story short, they started it up, and I negotiated the largest deal at the time that the Marine Corps had ever secured for, obviously, for trademark and license of close to $40 million deal. And
Wow.
it's still running to this day, and the money goes to all the Marines for their gyms and all the stuff worldwide. Yeah, true story.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So that's easily my most proudest moment as a former Marine, and definitely as a person, because there's no can't. You just got to find the answer. There's an answer.
Yeah.
You just got to be. If I would have took the no, then I'd have had a no. And as a
Yeah,
result,
the first phone call was just like, not worth it.
don't bother. Yeah. And since then, I've helped the Army with their program. I've helped the Navy a little bit with their program, but definitely the Army and Marine Corps I've helped with their program.
What did you learn from that, Mike? What did you learn about not taking no for an answer? What did you learn in business and in the work and in the life you have by going past their no's to get to that yes?
Well, yeah, there's 2 answers, no and yes. And, you want the yes. You have to figure out why they're saying no. Why are you saying no? You have to find out why they're saying no. And if it's their reasoning, it may not agree with yours, but they're saying no to the past. Whatever they're saying no to, they're saying
Great
no
line,
to
Mike.
the past. Because that was what happened in the past. So whatever has happened in the past, they're saying no based on your answer, based on your question today, because they're reflecting on the past. You have to give them the future. So I could have said the money you lost was pop, 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 pop. It wouldn't have resonated. But what I did was say the money you can make, this. They're seeing the future. Now they're saying yes to the future. They told you no to the past.
Yeah.
So everybody's telling you no. A girl who you want to go out on a date with, she's telling you no because she met people like you in the past. If you're doing a deal, they're telling you no because they've had experiences like this in the past. You've got to show the future, and you always get a yes. It's been that way for me for business, and I tell you what, it's made me the most successful person easily in this business. One of the most successful. I won't say the most. That's being very, very arrogant. One of the most successful people in security business right now. I'm telling you, yes to the future.
So, Mike, apply that to right now, what we can do in America to make things better for the younger people coming up of all different backgrounds and cultures. How do we help them do that? Because to me, always you've been a leader, and that's why I always, I spent time watching you change things in your police department, in security, in your business as
Man, I tell you,
you were the CEO of a company, and we were at some veterans event, and the guy got up and started talking trash. He was a veteran who was talking trash about America and what we were doing, and you got up to go take care of business, as it were. And I'm going to make you get down and tell you, Mike, you're a CEO.
You're a CEO. You can't do that. I'm like, I got this, Mike. I can hit him. I can hit him. I always forget that I can't, and Mike reminds me that I can't, because I instantly go to guns.
Yeah, it's different for a CEO. I had to make you take your seat and remind you, you're a CEO, Mike. You're a CEO. Now,
I instantly take phaser off a stun and go to kill. I don't go to phasers on stun. I go instantly phaser on kill.
Mike, tell me about leadership now, and how we get these young people to stay safe on the streets and to do things that we can to help each other, help the people that are out there, and what can you bring to the table leadership-wise, like Chris Gardner did from his experience in the Navy?
Yeah, they have to stop yelling. Here's what I mean by that. Police officers are trained to get yelled at every day, twice on Sunday. They hear you yell, it glazes over their heads. You need to stop the yelling and come up with solutions. Stop with the tweets and the taglines and come up with solutions. Stop doing, well, we could just do this. No, you can't just do this. Tell me how you're going to do this. Tell me what that's going to look like. Yeah, you want to defund me, which is another word for redistribution. I wish they'd change that word, because it's really redistribution. That's all that is. Cops will hear redistribution. When they hear defund, they think you're taking their money, all their money away. That means you're taking away their jet skis or boats and everything else that goes along with it. You need to think, and you need to think smartly. Yelling at me gets you nowhere. Yelling at me, telling me defund gets you nowhere. Telling me, hey, here's what we want to do. Let's take things off your plate. Oh, really? Now I'm showing you the future. I want to take social services off your plate. Yeah. I want to take homelessness off your plate. Yeah. I want to take these things off your plate. Yeah. So you can go chase bad guys. Really? Yeah. What time do you want me to start? That's showing them the future. Telling me that you're taking something away from me and you're not going to give me anything, I have no reason to say yes. So if I was to counsel any chief, and I've said this over, I would lean into it and say, okay, I'm for redistribution of our budget, because they're going to give the money back to them in a year. It's going to be a one-time hit. Okay, what are we going to do? Show me the path that you see. Tell me that you see bluebirds and butterflies and no police officers. That's not realistic. Okay, and everybody knows that's not realistic, but it sounds great on CNN. Let's be realistic. That's not what's going to happen. We're going to reshuffle the deck. We're going to maybe reshape, and we call it, and you call that in corporate America, we're just going to restructure. That's all you're doing. Don't tell me you're going to defund and disband. Tell me you're going to restructure. Tell me you're going to redistribute. Now we have a conversation.
So what do you think? We restore some of these mental health facilities? How do we get these people off the street?
Well, I mean, that's not in my wheelhouse. I mean, I'd be very bad to guess at that. What I can say is that if LAPD has 54% of the budget, that means the rest of the city operates on 44 or 46%. Okay, that means everything else operates on 46%, and 54% is going to your police department. There's a problem. The infrastructure doesn't work. You're in a police state. Okay,
yeah.
That's not even realistic in anybody's world. If I told you, hey, Doc, I know you fix teeth, but you know what? 54% of your profit's going to go to security around the building. Well, you're not in the dentist business anymore, brother. You're in the security business.
Sure, yeah.
So they need to understand, the police department needs to understand that, hey, it's nice, but this isn't sustainable. It's not a sustainable model. So let's redistribute it and say, I'm going to give you $150 million. You guys do with it what you will. That is as a chief, that is my civic duty. I'm saying that our department can spare the $150 million to make the city great. Here you go. We will do what we can to help you. Thank you. Have a good day. And you don't fight it. Your unions, you know what? Who cares what they think? Well, we're going to give it a vote of no confidence. You can't fire me. The only person who can fire me is the mayor. And I just made him look good by giving him $150 million. I'm not going anywhere. You see what I'm saying? So now you give $150 million. You guys do whatever you want. But I've given my part. And now it's being a leader is part of sacrifice. Leadership is part of sacrifice. You eat last. You make the directives so your men are stable. All those things come into play. If you're thinking of you first, cops, the ones that I hear aren't leaders. They're yelling and they're not leading as cops. Cops, you sacrifice. Telling me that you're out on the street drinking coffee and fighting bad guys, that's a great slogan. But that does nothing for the community. You're putting your finger in the dike with more water running in. How about this? How about stopping the water upstream? Let's help out the homeless. Let's help social services. Let's take this off to the plate that you are absolutely not qualified to do. There is no class that is teaching you how to deal with homelessness. There isn't, because they don't even, if they could, they would. There's no class to teach you how to deal with social services. That's not what you do. So how about this? How about giving the money away for what you don't do and just focus on what you do well? And then you don't have that problem anymore.
And asking our police force to be psychiatrists on the street, you know, coming up in a crisis situation.
It doesn't work. Let me give you the grim reality of what no one's telling you. Okay, let me give you the grim reality. You get a call for whatever social service problem there is, no matter what. You know what you're thinking in your mind? Jesus, now I got to write a report. How can I get out of here, have a cup of coffee, and get to lunch, and I still got 5 reports pending? How can I get rid of this? As opposed to a social worker that's really trying to figure out the problem. A cop is merely trying to get rid of the problem. One is trying to fix, one is trying to get rid of. Two different philosophies. Give the money to the people who want to fix and get out of the way. I don't understand why these cops or these chiefs are fighting this. I don't, because they're not getting good counsel. They're thinking on the wrong side. They need to understand that the reshuffling is just making things easier on their department, and it takes them away from the reality of what they need to do. I don't understand it. These guys aren't getting counsel. They're getting terrible counsel.
I want you to shut down for 1 minute while I say something for 1 minute.
Sure.
Everything that you have just said is incredible wisdom and insight, brain wise and heart smart. And for those of you who are listening in right now, I have known this young man since he was very young, just coming out of the Marine Corps. And I have watched him grow as a leader and a wise soul. He has risked his life and would have given his life in any of the firefights he was involved in. He is a consummate professional at law enforcement. He was a great training person for young detectives, keeping young, wet-nosed detectives safe from harm. He is a wise soul, a good man, married for many years, has the greatest family and the greatest extended family, and he's a light in our community where he grew up in Richmond and where he lives in Vallejo, El Cerrito. Wherever he shined his light, he was a good man. So take counsel, and that you're not dealing with somebody who isn't experienced in this world. And then on to bodyguarding the wealthiest and most powerful people in the world. He has born wisdom and insight. And although he would never tell you he's spiritual,
I'll tell you. I ain't got a problem with that.
He is a spiritual person.
Oh yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Why would you hide from God when you can't? How stupid is that? You're going to try to hide from God when you can't. Okay, that just makes no sense. You can't even hide from God.
I just want to say how proud I am of you, of who you have become and extended yourself into the community and the global.
I thank you, and you know.
Thank you for joining us in the Barracks. To learn more about our hosts, guests, and how to support Vets Mobile Dental Unit, visit www.inthebarracks.org.